I want to tell you what happened. Hello, hi.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. I guess I had to think a little bit. Um, so we're on the record now with Joey from Varsity. Dude, I've got to tell you, first and foremost, the first time I heard Shameless, I was like, what is this? What is this that I'm hearing? I loved it so much. And like I told you before, I we recorded. I was jamming out to Cloud City. Tell me what is your favorite track? I mean, I know they're all like your babies and everything, but tell me what is the song that stands out on Cloud City the most?
Um, I do like all of them. I love all of them, but I think the one to me that is my favorite is Dig.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I totally like that. So I don't know if your fans have ever. I'm sure they have. I mean, I don't have. I mean, there is not a unique idea in this great vast world of ours, you know. So I'm not saying.
Mm.
By the way, I have to stop you. Let me put your hand up. Let me see your tattoo on your palm. I mean, on
Oh
your
yeah.
dude. If that was a cherry, that would have been like I would have like told you to take a
Well,
picture.
well, I actually I made a when I got the peach, I was gonna get a cherry on top of it,
Uh huh.
and I didn't get to because we had a show that day. So I'm still
Right.
gonna do it though.
No,
I'm
I
still
love
doing.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. My logo
Thank you.
is the like the mouth is similar to that, but with a cherry in the middle. I mean,
Oh,
in the
nice.
mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, for CherriBird. But yeah, I totally love it. So anyway,
Thank you.
I just saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I talking about?
We
That
were talking about my favorite song on the record.
yes, no original ideas. So when I first heard you guys, I was like, wow, this is like every element, you know, of all of the genres of music that I love over decades. I mean, we're talking and I was never, I'm just going to preface and say, I was never a fan of boy bands necessarily.
Yeah.
But, and I mean like In Sync and I mean, or Backstreet Boys, y'all have that element,
Hmm.
the good part of that genre, if you will. I don't know if that's, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get
Um,
you.
but and then like this amazing element of like techno, like club music, and like Front 242, or even some Tintin from back in the
Hmm.
day. You weren't even
Yeah.
born. Um, but tell me a little bit about your influences. Let's just get some of that out of the way first, and where your sound comes from.
Okay, so I grew up on a lot of Michael Jackson, Frank Sinatra, like things like that. So growing up as a singer, I always sang along to that kind of stuff. Uh, my mom would play everything all the time in the house,
Yeah.
and then I got into like pop and R&B, so I got into like Usher and Brandy and like all these different like R&B singers, and that was kind of like my thing for a bit. I was always just into like singers, and then one day I was introduced to heavy music in high school, and the first band that I ever listened to was Killswitch Engage. That was the first band I ever listened to.
Yes.
Yeah, I was introduced to them, and I fell in love with it. I wanted to know more about it, and I bought a guitar and just started learning how to play guitar riffs. um, that led to me wanting to write music, and it was kind of discouraging at first because I didn't really know if there was a band within the scene that had like my type of singing with that kind of uh, guitar work. So I kind of didn't do it for a while, but I've always loved it. And a couple of years ago, I finally decided, what the hell, like, just do it.
Okay, so I'm gonna say I was, you know, I've been jamming the record for a while, and usually the way that I do my reviews is that I just listen and I just start writing, and
Mhm.
you know, I do a song by song. And I've done that with y'all's record, but there's so much more that every time I listen, I pull out of it. And so I thought I would do like this kind of like time lapse of me painting, and you know, and then kind of incorporate the written, you know, because I'm a writer first and foremost. I don't know how to
That's
do
sick.
really of anything
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
else. But like I literally, this is what I wrote because I have it up for my notes. It says, um, I love the whole track's overall push, like literal push to get me through the track, only it's backwards because I don't want it to be over. Um, every element from the best music, and then it does talk about NSYNC, Front 242, and maybe a hint of KSE, maybe. I literally wrote that. Like I can hear
Yeah.
that influence in there. so much. Now
So
you got to tell.
yeah, I'm a
Are you like
die-hard Kill Switch Engage fan. Like I love them to death.
team? So is it Team Howard or is it Team Jesse or
So when
both?
I got into them, it was Howard.
Yeah.
Howard was in the band, and so I loved that. And then I went back and listened to Jesse. Um, and I can't pick between either one of them. I love them both so much.
Yeah.
I
No.
think I have like a soft spot for Howard because that was the
Right.
vocalist that was in the band when I got into it. But Jesse's such a strong vocalist as well.
I know. I like.
Amazing.
Did you have you've seen the video for Signal Fire, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you cry? I cried, like literally.
I
Like
didn't cry, but I loved it.
so like I saw like I reviewed the record, and then when the video came out, it was a couple of months or weeks later, and I'd forgotten that Howard was singing on the track, and I was just watching it from like a kind of a first time, not remembering rather. And when Jesse came, when Howard came in, like on that break of that chorus, I was like, oh my God, it was so sick, dude.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh,
I
it's
love them.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can totally hear Adam's influence in guitar
Oh yeah,
and like
100%.
Shameless and Dig as well, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you said that, because I like any kind of music that makes me feel, and I can see a lot of emotional like experience that goes into, the songs that you write. Now, do you write the lyrics, or is it that a kind of a collaboration, or?
So I kind of write everything. I do.
Mhm.
I write all the guitar parts. I record it at home. I do all the demoing, and then after I get the whole song put together, I listen to it a bunch of times instrumentally, and whatever feeling I get from it, that's usually what I write about. The good majority of it is all like personal experiences and things that I've went through in my life. But that's usually how I do everything, and then I turn it into the band, and we bring it to the producer. And if we want to change things, we change things. Sometimes we do, and most of the time we leave everything as is. So
It is so refreshing to see that kind of, you know, I know this is an emotional time for everybody. You guys have been in New York. You guys have been, I don't know how y'all have managed, to kind of even exist with all of the, the shelter in place, the lockdown, and the craziness that's happening up there. And I have no idea at first. So I want to say congratulations for even surviving
thank you.
that, because God Almighty, but in this time, I feel like we are so all of us are wearing our emotions on our sleeves so much that
Mhm.
sometimes you can't interpret those emotions. It's just like a big scream, you know. But with y'all, I feel like the along with the music, the lyrics are just very poignant in how we all feel in some ways about a variety of different subjects, you know. And however the listener wants to interpret that is, that's what makes Varsity so amazing and Cloud City so amazing, is because it can be replicated to many different scenarios, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me about one of the instances or the experiences that you had that lended to the record, if you want to share personally.
So I, I can honestly talk about all of them.
Yeah.
Pathos is another one of like my favorite songs, and
Hmm.
so that song was about me constantly trying to do something, and it always getting to a point where I felt like it was finished, and me just completely falling apart and having to start over again. So like, kind of the climb. I compared it to like building a house. So you build this house, and you feel safe in it, but once you get to the roof, you fall through it, and you realize it's no longer a safe space for you.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things I wrote about because I go through like a lot of within this year alone. I've moved so many times. I've lost so many friends, just done so many different things that I always felt like I would put together this kind of safe space for myself, only to find out that it's not safe at all, and I'd have to
Hmm.
move on somewhere else and restart and rebuild something else.
It's interesting that you say that, because I think that's what a lot of us do, and especially even in this time of this pandemic. I never in my wildest dreams ever thought for 1 minute that we would lock down our country,
Yeah,
and not only our country, but pardon my French, but the world,
yeah, the world is shut down.
dude. That to me, I get goosebumps saying that even now, thinking of how unbelievable it is,
Yeah,
that
unreal.
And like, but I like that. I want to look up like what I mean, because I think I know what the definition of pathos is, but like from the Greek perspective or Latin. But it would be interesting to see what that definition and how that translates. Hey Kevin, will you look up pathos real quick? Sorry. And how that really can help somebody in learning to be safe in their own skin, because I don't know if that's even possible. You know what I mean? Like,
it's hard. It's like you get to a point in your life where you think you know something, but you realize you don't actually know anything, and you can only react to the things that you're kind of certain about, and just go with that, which is, I think, the scariest thing in the world.
yeah.
Is not knowing anything, but also the most awesome thing is not knowing anything. It's the weirdest kind of balance.
I think that was intentional, almost when we were created, if you will, like this human condition, or this human element that we all have, is so different yet so very the same. It's like we're almost, I mean, I always look at it as being something that, thank you, um, something that we're all going through the exact same thing at the exact same with the exact same emotions, just at different times. You know what I mean? And when it's weird. So pathos is the quality that evokes pity or sadness. And I love that because thank you. I think that for me anyway, especially in this time, I mean, in this part of my life, I'm constantly sad, and
Yeah.
but inside, it's not like I walk around bawling, and it's not a depression necessarily. It's just there's so much to be that I feel, about many different things, and more so. I don't want to pretend like I'm this humanitarian, but it usually has to do with myself, because that's what you know what I mean. So I'm trying to combat that with things like music and with discussion. How do you kind of combat being sad or feeling unsafe?
So I have a collection of notebooks. I write everything down. It's something I used to do when I was a kid, and I never let that go. I always, if I have something that I feel like is bothering me, I'll come to my desktop. I'll start writing a song, but I'll have a notebook down. And I'll start writing things down, and that always kind of helps me, like, just get like a sense of relief a little bit.
Dude, I don't know. I think we might be like long lost brother and sister or something, because I have like 100 different notebooks, and I
Yeah.
find, I can type, but writing with like pen to paper, is there's something like you're like, you know,
There's,
you're making it immortal when you write it on
yeah.
paper.
There's something sacred about writing on paper that I never let go of. It's like you get this fresh sheet of paper, and your very first thought or feeling is what goes down on that paper at that exact moment that you're feeling it. And I've always loved that, because I feel like that translates better than, oh, I can type something and it's there. I'll go back and edit it and all this other stuff, versus I'm just going to write down exactly how I feel. And if I try to go back and edit it, then it's going to look like, part of my French was going to look like shit, because it's
Yeah.
a piece of paper.
Right.
I love that.
I mean, yeah, I think that's awesome. So I love finding those connections between like the artist and the fan, and basically I am just an overzealous fan. I mean, I love music. It's been the thing that has really kind of I don't want to be so dramatic, but saved me from different perils, myself mainly, but since I was like 2, 3, I used to sing God Bless America and My Country 'Tis of Thee, like at the top of my lungs. And, it's always been like Cher was a huge influence on me when I was a kid. Michael Jackson, I'm way, way older than you are, but that's what makes music so timeless, and how, even a piece of music can influence somebody that's 12 or 35, 55. You know what I mean? um Tell me how you think that Varsity's music is going to be timeless, or how you want it to be timeless.
I kind of, I don't know if we'll be timeless. That's kind of, I feel like that might be like overshooting a little bit. But I do know, I've always said this. I don't want to be remembered for the guy who's like, oh, they put out some great songs and they're like rock stars and this and that. I literally just want to be remembered as the guy who wrote things that other people felt like they were living through. If I can write something that you feel like you're living through at that same moment, and that song makes you feel something like years down the road, if you hear the song and it brings up a memory from your past, my job is completely done. That's how I want to be remembered. That's how I want, when this all goes down,
Very.
that's how I want it to end,
Well, I completely can relate to that. I mean, I think that for me, writing, like, I mean, I can sing, but I've never been, I'm too chicken. Like, I had a band at one point, and I, that was like being naked in front of a million people and them all pointing and laughing at you when you're on stage. And I just couldn't, I mean, I can emulate any singer, but when it's my own music, no way. you know so
Yeah.
I admire people that get up and do what you do, but like I like to, my big thing is a first and foremost a poet. I love poetry. I love the cadence because I feel like it's very lethargic and for me when I'm writing, because then I can go back and I've written some poetry like 25 years ago, and I go back and it makes me cry, or it makes me have goosebumps, or I revisit that emotion. And sometimes I think that's helpful. But then sometimes I think that that's the reason why I can't let go of things. How do you let go of the things that the challenges in your life? Hold on, I'm going to cough.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Um,
Just like did not, I had
I
my head set it.
That's fine. Um, I I don't have a. I think from all the stuff that I've been through, it's really weird to say, but I can disconnect from things like really quickly.
Hmm.
Um, I'm the kind of person where, because of all the all the stuff I've gone through, and then on top of that, all the touring that I do now, obviously not this year, but
Right.
I've learned to just be able to disconnect. So if something happens to me today, I'll probably mope about it for an hour, but tomorrow it'll be like that thing never happened. It's a weird thing that I've developed over the years, but it kind of just it just happens. Like I'll feel something, I'll kind of write it down, and then it's gone. Like that's it.
I love that. Whereas that, negatively speaking, that could be something that, that would be dangerous, if you will, because but I honestly don't believe that that's the case with you, because I feel like you dump it out in your music. You know what I mean? Like, and to that is, it speaks volumes, because, you just, for example, what's going on in our country today. I mean, it's like we're still talking about the things that happened so long ago that are still affecting people on an emotion, wherever that
Yeah.
emotion is coming from, whether it be, nefarious or true.
Mm-hmm.
That emotion is real for that person or that group, but so letting go is, I think, is something that we as humans haven't, or maybe as a society haven't really figured out how to,
Yeah.
go through it and get to the other side,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and maybe when we do figure that out, then maybe everything will be cool. But, and it's like I look back on things that happen in history, and I feel like this time right now is so, like, people are going to talk about this time
Yeah.
in 100 years.
We are living in a literal part of history.
Yeah, and I've never
Insane.
felt that before,
Yeah.
ever. Like, even 9/11 wasn't, I mean, yeah, it was huge, but it wasn't like this, that I feel like we are really, like, literally moving to another dimension.
Yeah.
Like, they say that we're going to the fifth dimension, and I'm like, well, how do you get there? How is everybody going to come? I mean, like, how does that, and and I still don't know how that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
if it, I mean, could be not even true, but I don't know. But getting to a different plane of how we emotionally interpret things and
Yeah.
react to that, I think music has something, it plays a big key in that, or a big role.
I think music is one of those things that's just forever. I've always said this. This is actually something I was taught by my mom when I was a kid. My mom and my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Music is the only universal language. It's the only language that everyone understands, no matter what verbal language you feel and understand everything that's going on when you hear a song.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main reasons why like I fell in love with music. It's always going to be there. It always has been there and it always will be there. And it's the thing that actually makes us feel something more than like anything else. Because we're looking now, we're going through this pandemic and everyone turned to music. And the,
Mm-hmm.
the musicians, those of us who can't tour, started doing more music, and people started realizing that, life without shows and concerts and everything else is kind of really, really depressing in a sense.
It sucks, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I, I I can honestly say that it's weird. I don't understand this. I've been really trying to figure this out on paper and in talking with other people, but I literally stopped listening to music around March the 20th and did not listen. The first record that I reviewed that I listened to, um Y'all's was the second, but the first one was Skeletal Remains, which is their heaviest band. Like, and I literally, like, I would listen to music here and there, like when I was in the car, but it was not a part of my life from March to almost the beginning of October. I don't understand that. I don't understand that because normally and I didn't write either. So that was space of time was like vapid of the things that hold me together.
Yeah.
And I don't get it, but I miss live music so much, and now that I've started listening again, I'm 100% all in. Like, I don't
Yeah.
stop. It's weird.
Yeah. The same
Yeah.
thing happened with me. I kind of stopped when this whole thing shut down. I kind of just stopped doing the music thing. Obviously, we were going through like the label stuff, but I
Mhm.
kind of stopped doing it. And luckily, we had like an EP and a bunch of like and everything else. And when we started recording music again in August, uh, that was when I really got back into it and started realizing like, all right, this is like the the biggest part of my life. Like when for those months that I wasn't doing it, I don't even remember what I was doing
I
during those
know.
months.
I swear to God, I'm not like, and I feel like when I say this, it makes me sound psychotic. Okay, but I feel like that was my coronavirus. Like, I feel like that was a virus
Yeah.
that I caught, and it took, and I was ill, like literally, like, because that's not me. I was still me. I was still talking really about the same things. I wasn't really, I was still here, but in Dallas we only had like I think it was 28 days of shelter in place, and even
Hmm.
then we could still, like, things were shut down, but we could still go to the store, like the grocery store, or I could still ride my scooter around, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, I mean, it was so bizarre, Joey. I can't explain to you, like, but I really feel like that was what bug got me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
and
understand
and I
that.
don't. I mean, I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form is reality. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
because it's so unlike me, I don't understand. I
Yeah.
don't understand, and but I feel like I grew from that experience for sure. But I'm just really excited. I can't wait until you guys can go on the road and come to Dallas. Have you ever been to Dallas before?
So we've been to Dallas, I think once. We've toured most of Texas, but we've only been there, I think once. It was in February.
This February? Were you at
Yeah.
Gas Monkey Bar and Grill? Do you
I'm not even.
remember?
Not.
I'll
I'm
look
not
it. I'll
sure.
look it up. But because I know, like, I've been listening. I know that I've run into you guys before, and I want to say that. I mean, I don't think we've met, like, personally, but I want to
Hmm.
say that I've seen you guys because your music is very familiar when I listen. But I'm totally excited for when
Thank you.
touring comes back and y'all can come back,
Yeah.
and I can
Yeah.
really
Me too.
definitively put my finger. Oh yes, I did see them.
Yeah. I honestly can't wait to tour again.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I know we've got about 3 more minutes, but Is there anything that you want to tell fans that they can take away from Cloud City when it comes out in December, or any kind of last thoughts?
Um, just have fun with it. Whenever you get the record, whenever you listen to it, just have fun with it. Have fun with life. Do whatever you want. Do it responsibly, and just look forward to whatever's coming. Stop being so damn negative.
No kidding. No kidding. Well, thank you
Is it only
so
three
much.
minutes?
What?
Do they give you like a time limit for these
Well,
things?
well, no. I mean, I know. I mean, we can talk all for. I mean, I didn't know if you had like a 30-minute block. Usually, they will book people like 30 minutes at a time. I don't want
Yeah,
to
I don't
rush.
really.
I
They have
mean,
one at like 3, one at 4, one at 5. Like
oh, okay,
you can
good.
talk
So
more
we
if you
have some
want. Yeah.
time, so we don't have to. We don't have to like. Usually, I'm like, okay, blah, 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 bye.
Yeah,
But
no, I don't. I like speaking anyway, so.
yeah, no, and then I like talking, and I think that people want to hear, like, there's a reason why podcasts are so popular right now, because people want to hear more of the conversation.
Yeah,
They want to hear more.
I love podcasts.
Yeah, I do too. That, and I don't watch TV anymore. I only watch YouTube, and I don't know if
Mhm.
that's probably what's warped my mind, but
I I do that same thing now.
I just can't. I can't watch shows anymore. I feel like that's all fake. I think it's all, and I don't mean that in the fake news terminology. It's
Yeah,
just not. It does. I don't get anything from it.
doesn't do anything for me on like any type of like human level. Whatever's on TV, it's kind of just like, oh, it's there.
Yeah.
So I don't really watch it either.
If I want to like disassociate or be distracted, I'll play a game on my phone or something like that. Like, what do you ever play games on your phone? Or like,
Yeah.
what's your favorite game you're playing right now?
So I play a lot of Among Us right now. I have like a Discord that I started for fans and stuff because
Awesome.
I don't like when people think that I'm this big kind of celebrity thing. And so what I do is I tell every night I tell a bunch of different fans like, hey, if you want to join my Discord and we'll play a couple of games, we'll crack a couple of jokes and then you'll get to see how I actually am. Like even though we're not in person, you get to hear me and see, get how I
That's so
speak and
awesome.
everything. And it's kind of cool because like a lot of my fans, there are some fans that actually told me, I thought you were like this, like really like, oh, like I'm the shit kind of thing, and they're like, you're like super regular. Like, yeah, I don't do anything except for play games, drink soda, and like do
Right.
music, man. Like,
Exactly what you do. But
yeah.
just I write music about it. And where you listen, I love Discord. I have a Discord as well. But there's nobody in there. I really don't know how to use it, to be honest. But I have a Twitch and I have all of this crap, right? And like I love technology. It's just moves so fast for me. Like I can't keep up. Like when I was your age, I could keep up because it was when technology came out, it was new, and I could incorporate what I learned, what I knew from the that past release, into
Mhm.
the current release. Right now,
Yeah.
it's like so fast that I don't even know what the fuck is going on with the
Yeah. Well, I
technology.
mean, even for me, like technology is kind of like it's rough sometimes, man. Like there's all these different apps coming out. The guys, the label, have been fighting with me for months about like getting more on my TikTok, and I don't really want to do it because I don't get it. Like I just
I don't either.
I don't get what's like the big deal about it. But like I also know that social media is like kind of important for
Yeah.
music and all these other things. So I don't know,
Well,
but
I
I
mean,
understand.
no, if you look at it, I mean, you've got to find your niche though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like Matt from Trivium, he is, I mean, he like has defined what social media and Twitch streaming is for musicians. And like I mean, he's amazing. Like
Yeah.
I watch his Twitch show all the time. I mean, he's on twice a day, every effing day. Like I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, what you have a wife and a kid and you have your other life, but like he just comes in, plays the guitar, would talk, chats for a little bit and then done.
Yeah.
And I'm so envious of that discipline. I think that's what it really is, what it is, because I just want somebody to tell me, okay, go do that, instead of me making the decision. Maybe, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I love it. But I don't get TikTok. I'm with you. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like,
Yeah, I don't know what's the big deal with that thing, but everyone loves it.
I mean, maybe you can find some way to incorporate like what you do, you know, like video yourself writing or something, and that, you know, that
Yeah.
it's totally, because I don't understand, but I think some of the TikTok videos are funny, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's entertainment for the end user, but if I was to be that, you know, a content creator of TikTok, don't ask me, man. I have no clue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, but like I used to go live, and I live in Deep Ellum, which is like the entertainment area of Dallas, or it was before they boarded everything up. But that's another weird thing. Are things boarded up where you are? Like
No.
windows
So
and shit?
no, it's kind of funny. I feel like people think New York is a little different because of what they've read or seen on TV and stuff like that. Everything is kind of open here. Nothing is really boarded up. It's just you can't go into certain stores, and there's not a lot of people in the street because a lot of businesses are still closed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but nothing is boarded up. I think they were starting to board things up at first, but then the people, as people realized, like, hey, like we don't need to board up. Like, let's just be somewhat responsible. I will say that it's kind of at night. It's kind of scary because I'm not used to New York City being this empty. So you go outside at night, and it's literally a ghost town.
Wow.
Um, but
I've
it's
been to New York several times, so I can't even imagine that.
yeah, it's literally a ghost town. I went the other day to take photos in Times Square, just because me and my best friend were thinking like, oh well, since there's nobody outside, we'll go and we'll see how we'll take some photos and it'll be less of an issue. And when we got there was zero people outside.
So nuts. In
Yeah,
Times Square.
in Times Square there was zero people there.
That's
The
so
craziest
crazy.
thing ever. We thought there would at least be a few, but there was no one outside.
I mean, like I said, I've been to New York several times, New York City several times. I can't imagine that. Like
Yeah.
here, you know, when I ride my scooter around and I go, and that's what I was gonna say, what I was talking about as I go live. And when I had my little scooter, I had this like phone that I could, I mean, like phone holder that I could put on the thing, on the like the handlebars of the scooter. And now that I have a bigger one, it doesn't, it just shakes and it's like, you know, it's awful. So I don't go live, but everybody loved that going live, and not that I would even talk. I would just drive around on my scooter around, and you know, it's 3.5 blocks here in
Yeah.
Deep Ellum, consists of 3.5 blocks, and I just would ride around and we talk a little bit or whatever. I pull over, and they love that. So I think that, you know, people have an interest in knowing what people do outside of what they see online, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
They do. They definitely do. But I mean, I think that's why I try to do more with like people these days. I try to talk more and do everything else with them because there's like a huge disconnect between artists and their fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed a lot of fan bases just think that, well, first off, they think we're rich. They're like, oh yeah, you go home and you're like, you live in this mansion and you do this and that. And it's like, no, it's nothing though. It's nothing like what people think it is.
Right. Like I don't
Um,
tour around in a you know, a plane or a big giant, you know,
yeah,
luxury. Well, you guys might in a big bus, but like when you first start out, I mean, I'm sure you were in a van or you know, some type
yeah.
of, I don't know, but it's not like what people think. You know,
But
I love.
we're always gonna be in a band.
Yeah.
My band is one of those bands where we kind of we liked how everyone used to do it before, um, and that plays like a big part of like how we do things. We know bands like Under Oath who went on entire Warped Tours in their 15 passenger van because they thought, you have to grind this out. You can go ahead and get a bus and do all this stuff, but what is the bus? It's like it's a more expensive place to sleep. It doesn't really make sense. And so for us, we just tour in the van nonstop. And I think when touring comes back, even if someone offers us a bus, we're probably just gonna be like, you know what? We want to feel small and be in like a nice little space.
Yeah, because that makes you feel safe. And I mean, granted, there are some great things about a bus, but really, honestly, it's just like, you know, this whatever that size comparison is, you know, like the people, you know, that have the bigger car that you have, or the bigger truck that you have, is in Texas, it's the bigger truck that people
Yeah,
drive. I mean, and this is not male female, it's both. The you know, really the lesser of maybe feel about yourself sometimes. And
Mhm.
not saying that that's every artist. I'm not, because
Yeah.
I've been on some nice tour buses, and hell yeah, I'd like to travel around, but I get
Mhm.
what you're saying. And to feel like, I love that Under Oath said that sounds like them, that,
Yeah.
we have to be in this bus to grind it out, because I mean, let's be honest, Warped Tour is a grind. Like, F that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not really F that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I could not, I could not,
Yeah.
it's just, that's a very hard grind, if you will. Like, that every
Yeah.
other day, you know?
I've had friends who were on Warped Tour, and they told me, I was like, hey, the tour is great because it's Warped Tour, and you feel a sense of community and like there's love there, but it's also
Totally.
like it's a drag. You wake up every day early and you gotta do all these things, and your schedule is random because every day the bands play at different times. So you may wake up at 10 and they're like, hey, you go on at 11, and now you have no warm up, no nothing, so you're gonna sound like crap.
Yeah, well,
You
and
know?
then the cool thing about Warped Tour was what I loved about it was that, that community, that sense of community was completely evident. And but the talent that was on, like Falling in Reverse, like Ronnie, when the band was on that tour, that was ages ago, but I, that those fans are still with that band from those days. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, those are
Yeah.
early days. And I think those are the coolest connections to make, like,
Yeah.
I, from bands that I know that I've, like, interviewed or reviewed their record when they first started out, like it was maybe their EP or their, like, kind of like, and I still have these great connections. Like, I feel like we're friends,
Yeah.
like, I feel like we're, and they may be like, whatever, lady, but me, I'm like, that's my friend over there. That's, yeah,
Yeah.
or the, you know, but that's the kind of thing that it comes. Side note of what I do, or what y'all may do. It's maybe the same for you guys, that you can, every city you go to, that there's at least one person that's got your back.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be cool.
What's funny about I'm really good at remembering faces but not names. So there's been times where we've gone to like states and I'll see someone and I'll like start talking. I was like, I remember you from last time, but I don't really remember your name, and they'll be in complete shock, like, oh my god, you like remembered me? I was like, yeah, I'm really good with faces but not good with names. So if I
Me
see you
too.
once, and I see you again, I'll definitely start a conversation. I remember you. I just may
Yeah.
not know your name, but
Do you remember that? Did you ever see that movie House Bunny?
yes.
You know what I'm talking about, when the way that she remembers names. Like, that's what I
Yeah.
do in my mind. Like, I'll be like, Joey, and and it doesn't really help, but it's kind of funny to think about, like, how she repeats. But I'm the same way. Like, I will start conversations with people because I've seen them before, and even
Yeah.
had I'm like, I know you from somewhere, and then go on about that. But when it's really hard, names are really hard. I was talking to my friend Kevin too. He was like, don't you think it's weird how we don't remember phone numbers anymore? And I was like, yeah, I have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
I used to know everybody's phone number, my friends, by heart. Could you imagine knowing 5 people's phone numbers?
Yeah, I can't even think. I barely remember mine.
I don't, well, yeah, I know mine, and I know my mother's, and I know my boyfriend's. But that's really about it. I don't know it, either of my ex-husbands. I don't know their phone numbers. I don't know my daughter's phone numbers. It's
Yeah.
all like, it's weird. I don't know how that even happened back in the day. Like, I didn't even carry a notebook. I would just remember the numbers, like, or like an address book.
Yeah, it was a different time. It was a
It
way
totally
different time.
was. I mean, how do you think we're gonna feel, like, when? Do you think it's gonna be like one big announcement that the world is back, or will there never be the way that it was?
I don't think that I have a very strong feeling that it'll be a little bit of both. I think they'll,
Hmm.
eventually they'll be like, hey, there's a vaccine, so we can, you can get this vaccine or whatever, and it'll do whatever, suppress it, kind of like what it is. Because I do have sisters who are nurses,
Hmm.
and they've told me like, like it really is a virus, and all viruses go away. None of them stay forever.
Right.
However, I do think there will be some type of precautions that we have to take from here on out, just in case, because now that this happened, they'll want to tell people, hey, we don't want this to happen again. So even though you could take this vaccine, it doesn't mean that there's something else out there that won't come. Please be cautious, please be courteous, and just, continue living. I think they'll go back to like a certain type of normal. I think the masks are always going to be there now. Or I think certain people are gonna. I don't think it'll be mandatory, but I know certain people will always wear them from now on.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of the mask. Number one, I talk way too much. Number two, I am claustrophobic to a degree. Don't like I can't breathe, and I also I smoke too, and so like it's just such another annoyance, and for me personally, and honestly, they really like the degree of assistance or prevention that they do for either when they say, oh, you're protecting somebody else, or if that was the case, I think that OSHA would have had different standards, and there would have been different viruses are very, very weird, and they have it completely, they're so small. Anyway, that's all. I mean, I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I don't give a shit. Wear the mask, don't wear the mask. But
I don't.
You know what I mean? Like
in my area is like I live in like a really nice part of Brooklyn. It's all like foreign people, so it's all like Italians, Russians, things like that. No one here wears masks.
I bet.
Yeah, it's because like like I'm Italian and Puerto Rican. Like even from my Italian side, I have family who still lives in Italy, and they've always said, they're like, hey, listen, it's a virus. You're gonna die one day anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
You're probably gonna, like chances are, everyone probably is either gonna get it or has already had it.
Right.
And then there'll be something that'll happen. It might go away, and then that's it. That's usually the best way to do it. But people report different things, and it's kind of like that gets into people's head. And I know in my area, you actually get looked at funny if you do have a mask. They're kind of like, this
oh
guy.
My God, I wish I was there. Yeah. Look at this
guy.
So
like when I go to the store here, the guys here in the store all know me. I'll go in like wearing a mask sometimes because I know there are other people who won't need it, and they'll literally be like, dude, you can take that off. Like, we know you. Like, it's not.
I can't wait for that to happen here, because everybody a woman has gone like here in Dallas. They're like the I guess the suggestion or the court I mean, it's not a law. Like they can't. That's what another thing. I'm like, first of all, that violates our civil and our constitutional rights, is to force us to do this, force your business to close. No, your business can stay open. You can stay open. Now, the backlashing you will get, I can't speak to, but constitutionally, you open. You know what I'm saying? But like, there was a woman so here, if you can't social distance 6 feet, then you put the mask on. That's what it says in writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nobody follows that. Okay, it's all mask and social distancing. So we're all like walking around, we're taking up more space than normal. But I had my mask down at Target, like just down. This woman walks around me like in a giant, and she's like, put your mask on. And I was like, read the mandate, woman. Like I can understand how those skirmishes happen in stores, because I'm like, you can't, you're not the boss of me, number one. Number two, you're not educated on what the mandate is, and I'm not ill. I'm not sick.
Well, that's the main problem. Like, not a lot of people are educated on what's actually going on, and no one is teaching them. So
I know. Maybe we should have we should have a weekly show, Joey. That's the Cherri and Joey educational show. I mean, I don't know what.
You know what's fun? I've actually been thinking lately about like doing like my own podcast. I love talking, and I like talking to people and like just ranting about like completely different things. And I brought that up to my manager, and he told me, he was like, I think you should do that. He was like, I think that might be a great outlet for you to connect with more people and talk about things that are actually relevant to today. And even if it's not something that's relevant, it might be something that someone else catches interest in, and that might build you like a following of people who know you for someone who's just wants to speak and wants to be educated on topics.
I would watch that every day. Like, I would watch it every day. I would also participate in any way, shape, or form that you needed me to, because I feel like people are afraid to talk. They're afraid to say what they think in their mind. They only say what they think that other people want them to say, so that they don't that they're not looked down upon, or they're not looked at
Yeah.
as different. And that's bullshit, man. We don't need to
Yeah.
suppress our speech. We need more speech,
We do.
you
It's
know?
crazy how many people are like, oh, I'm okay with just being quiet for a bit. It's like you should never be quiet. Ever. Like your
Never.
voice is your most powerful tool. Why not use it?
Exactly. And even if I don't agree with what the person is saying, I I'm at least in the least I respect the fuck out of them for saying it,
Yeah.
because everybody's walking around spouting the same shit that they've heard, on the news, or from their mom and dad, or from their best friend, and inside going, I don't really feel like that. I don't feel like that at all.
Yeah.
And maybe they
That's
do.
the worst.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. So let me know. Seriously, we follow each other on Instagram, but let me know if you do that.
Yeah.
Um,
I definitely want to do that.
yeah, maybe we can have a couple of practice runs, and like just to talk, because I'm the same way. My boyfriend doesn't talk a lot, so I am he like anytime I have his ear, I'm like blah, 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 blah.
Oh
He's
yeah, I'm the
like,
exact same way. I just start once I open my mouth. It doesn't
yeah.
stop. It's hard. I
And
think
my
it's
friend Kevin, we talk all the time. So, but honestly, like I mean, I love to hear other people's views, and may not be, like I said, it may not be what mine are, but
yeah.
I,
But
it
you
doesn't
see,
matter.
that's a conversation. Like I feel like that's important too. Like it's important to not have the same views because you might see something differently from another person and you don't understand why, and you talk about it, and now you see each other's points of views. So even if you don't agree with the person, you might still agree with like certain little tidbits of their point of view that you can bring into yours and just makes it kind of easier. Or at least that's how I feel. Like, but I'm also very outspoken. I'm the kind of person that I go online, like I'll go on my Facebook and I'll literally write whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And sometimes like my manager will be like, "Hey, dude, like you sure you want to say that?" I was like, "Yeah," and I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
that's
delete it. So if
exactly
you ask me
right.
to, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, I don't like it and because I do that to myself all the time. I'm like, oh, should I delete that? Should I? What is so and so gonna think? And I don't give a. I don't care. So and so probably already
Yeah,
knows that I'm thinking that. If they really know me,
yeah,
and if they don't, then they're not going to change. They're not going to want to know me
yeah,
any better or different, like
yeah,
it's so bizarre, like how people can just make these accusations and these assumptions, rather, not really accusations, but these assumptions that you are this and this by what you post on social media. But I don't look at social media like I, like
yeah.
that.
I don't live in
I,
that world. I
I don't
feel like
either.
social, yeah, social media is just this thing that I use, and I'm like, all right, I use it for fun. I'll write a couple of thoughts in here and there, but I don't live in this world. So if I write something that you don't agree with, and me and you can have a conversation on it, amazing. Because now we can take that conversation off of social media, and maybe we can be like real life acquaintances or something like that. But if you're just going on social media to bash someone, I kind of don't care. Like I don't really.
Yeah, no, I don't get that, and I don't get the fact that is like, it's almost taken the place of a reality, that virtual reality of social media.
Yeah,
And because I don't feel like that it runs my life, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I may look at like pictures and shit on, and I like that. I may type a couple of things, upload some pictures of my girls, check in somewhere. I think it's handy. I think it's cool, but
mhm,
it doesn't define me as a person, nor does it
yeah,
define what I do, you know?
yeah. It shouldn't dictate your character or your way of life.
No,
That's
not at
just it.
all. Dude, we have to have more conversation. But now I have to. I mean, it's almost 3 or 4 your time. Um,
Yeah.
but well, we need to have more conversation, because I really like the way you think, and there's 1,000 other questions that are popping into my mind, but I don't even want to put them out there because then we'll be like, oh, I gotta go. But yeah, let's talk a little bit long.
Yeah, just let me know whenever you're like, hey, I want to have a conversation or whatever. And
Yeah,
I'm literally always home now because I just quit my job because they're racist pieces of shit.
yeah,
Um, I'm home
good.
all the time now,
Fuck them.
literally. Yeah, fuck
Good.
those people.
Right, right. No, I mean, good. I'm good for you for standing up, and who cares? Like, do what you got to do and take care of yourself, just like you said. I think that you're an amazing voice for a very confused generation, and
Thank you.
maybe to make some sense out of, or not sense. It doesn't. it doesn't have to be a definitive this or that, but you're a voice, and it's strong in you. The voice is strong. Like, I feel like Yoda or something.
Wise
like
words.
Yes, I'm like the musical Yoda. I mean, the music Yoda. No, I'm kidding. I am that short. No, I'm just joking. I'm not that short. But anyway, Joey, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I could talk for another 2 hours. Good luck with Cloud City. Keep following me on Instagram, and I'll follow you on everything else. But I'll have some other fun stuff about Cloud City up in the next couple of days. And
yeah, just let me know.
Yeah. So congrats and on the signing and all of that. And it was fun talking to you. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Thank you. Same to you. You have a great day. Okay?
Alrighty. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.